Welcome back, everybody. So this video, we will we'll start to do what's called a box out phase, where we just kind of put things into place to give ourselves a reference of how large everything should be, kind of based off what we have in our concept art. So we're going to first start off by going to our modeling software. I'm using 3ds Max. And I'm assuming that you have, kind of the fundamentals of 3ds Max known, but I'll still try to walk through in a pace that if you don't, you can follow along. So I'm going to start off by just making a box. Just control right click and then go to box. I'm just going to drag it out. And I want this to be 6 feet. Like I said, I want it to be 6 feet tall, but we'll say maybe 2 feet wide, 2 feet length, and then 6 feet tall. So 6 foot is the average size of a male or a person, we'll say. So now we know. Now this will be our reference, our kind of scale reference, so we can know how large we want the prop to be. Because if it's gonna be a prop that's meant to be 2 feet, then we definitely don't want it to be the same height as this. But I believe this prop looks like it should roughly be about maybe just at the very top, maybe 6 feet. So something that's kind of easy to access, almost like the size of a refrigerator, with this being the top portion. So so this will give us a reference of how tall it should be. And it does help if you have your reference image on a second screen. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to bring my reference image on the second screen. And I'll try to drag it down as I go if I find something important. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to retile this box to we'll call it, I guess we'll call it size reference. You can call it whatever you want. You can freeze that so that we aren't accidentally clicking on it anymore. So I'm just going to again control right click and then go to a box, and here we are really just boxing this out. I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. So look at my reference as I do this. I see this is a little bit bigger than, same thing, something kind of like that. Let me go ahead and put my wireframe on. I'm going to center this. Okay. And actually, I want to center this other human scale real quick. I'm just going to move to the side. There you go. Okay. So back to this. So I think that seems like it's pretty decent size compared to my reference. Okay. So I'm just going to start off by making that first lip, and then I'm going to inset that, and then just extrude this out. Okay, put that back in place. So maybe something like this might be good. Okay. I think it's pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to. So what I did is I first made this kind of portion here, as you can see. We can round it if we want to. Round these corners just a little bit to give it kind of the true shape. So I'm going to just go to chamfer. Let's put chamfer 2 in there. And if I bring up my reference, I say it's pretty close. Okay. So what I want to do next, I want to start to work on. Let's see if I can bring more other references. Okay. So I do know I want to to now that I have this kind of box in there, I want to do this larger shape. Okay. So there's a few ways I can do that. And I can just, I think for the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to create a box and make the box. Alright, so again, we want to make sure we are looking, here's our human size reference. We want to be a little bit, a little closer to that. Okay, move back to our perspective. We see that it's a little bit too, sorry, it's a little bit just too wide. So what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to give it a better shape to match this. So it looks like it's a little closer to the back end than it's the front end, so then I know that I should move this back just a hair so it kind of matches that, like so. Okay. Let's see. And also it should be probably a little bit wider. I'm looking at it. Okay. And in fact, it actually looks like it might be too wide, so I'm going to make this base a little bit smaller as well. So I'm bringing this in. I think that seems a little more accurate. This base will come in just a hair too. Just like that should be fine. Okay. I need to add a loop in here so I can extrude this top portion out. Okay, so maybe okay, so we want to extrude out by local normals just a little bit to give a little bit of a lip there, as you can see. Maybe a little more. Okay. So like before, as you saw, we do have a little bit of a round, or this is a little softer, a round edge. So let's go ahead and put that in there. So I'm gonna start off by selecting all these corners. Okay. And then we also do know that these four are going to be round as well. So I want to chamfer those. This actually needs to be a little bit of a bigger chamfer since I want to put one more in there. Okay, so something like that seems pretty in line with what we're going for. Okay. So now we have this door area. And let's go ahead and just, for this we can so for this door, I believe what we can do here is just we're going to copy this, and then let's see, this is the new one. I'm just going to invert everything and then delete. Now I want to shrink this down a bit. Move the door down. Then I'm just going to extrude this out. Okay, so it looks like the door needs to be a little bit taller, but we're getting pretty close. In fact, I think I'll just grab this top one, pull that up, and then what we'll do here, so something to keep in mind, this is just going to be more or less this is our box out, so we're just referencing this later on. Okay, so what I'm going to do from here, so I'm going to grab these two corners. I'm going to chamfer these as they look to be there. Okay, nice. Now I'm just going to grab this front face and we'll convert those to edges. And then we'll chamfer that as well. Let's dial that back a bit. Say a little softer like that should be just fine. And then we'll chamfer the bottom. Okay. So now we have this kind of door looking something that looks like that. Okay, so we need to create this little window, which in that case what we can do is we can select all those edges, we'll connect them, and just move that up. Let's go ahead and then we'll chamfer that. Just kind of find a width that should be good for us. Okay, that feels pretty appropriate. Okay, so now I want to select this and inset it. So I'll inset it a second time. I'll bring that down a little bit better, a little bit more. Okay. And as I look at this a little bit, I'm kind of thinking that maybe this should be a little higher up. So let me go ahead and oops. Let me grab this. I'll remove these two with my control backspace. And I'm going to add I want to connect these two here. My control C connection. Now I'm just going to add a swift loop. Oops. To the right there. I might move it down a little bit. Okay, seems a little better. Okay. Now I can inset that. And we'll inset one more time. Okay. And I want to extrude that out, not quite that much. We're just looking for something to kind of give it the frame. Okay. I'm gonna select all of these to try to just round this corner a bit. I don't need anything more than that. Okay. Okay. So because this is just our box out, we aren't too concerned about how the typography on this so much. As I understand, this will be a little bit less of quality. This is just more or less to let us know where everything needs to be going. So, really a lot of this is just extras anyway, so. Let's see. Looks like that's fine. Now we do know this needs to be going back, so I'm going to extrude this in the negative direction. And the reason this all of a sudden disappears is because we have this section right here. So what we're going to do, I'm going to select this, connect those 2 times. I'm going to move this like so. And all I'll do next is just inset this like that, and then we'll to let's see. Okay. So make sure that some area I can delete. There you go. So now what we have is we can, let's see if I were to remove this, you'll see we just kind of made a hole in that, and then now we have our kind of the inside of the cooler that we can go into, as you see right there. So we're gonna push that back. I think that actually looks pretty accurate. We're going for, and just I'm gonna soften this edge. Not that I need to. I think that it'll just make it a little nicer looking for when you're trying to gauge where everything's going. So if we look back at our reference, we see there's a shelf there. There's a light up here, so we can create those real quickly. And then this is some extra detail we really don't, it's not necessary right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just create a box. So something like that. And I'm going to center, or put that to the center. Oops. Let's go back to perspective mode. And I want to have this box. I want this box to be my shelf. So see what makes this a little smaller. And bring it forward a bit. Okay. I think the thickness is pretty nice. It's pretty in line with what I'm thinking. There you go. So now I have my shelf. I'm gonna go ahead and just make this all the same color, so it's just easier to identify. Okay, so we have our shelf. Now we just need that little light at the top, which would be a simple. That could just be a simple. So we're looking for a cylinder. So maybe not quite that large. I think this should be just fine. Just keep it cleaned up. I want to let's see. Chamfer these a little bit. Maybe give it a chamfer level 2. Okay, and inset, extrude, and just a bit. Okay. So there's kind of our light we're thinking right there. It does, according to the reference, it looks like it's a little shorter. So I'm just going to pull that down a hair. Okay. Now this should be ready to position right into the, as you see the back of the cooler is there. We want to be right about the middle, and then we want to be much smaller. Okay, so go back to perspective. We'll try to position this right up into the ceiling like so. Now let's make this match the same color blue, so that way all looks the same. There you go. So next we'll work on just this. Well, actually, first before we do that, let's go ahead and create this little coin deposit there. So just using a simple box. I think saying for now saying that this should be fine. I'm going to convert that to L poly, and let's just position that and see what we need to do to make some adjustments. Okay, so it's clearly too large. That's what I think it's saying more. Kind of just hangs on to the edge there. You can see. Perhaps a little lower. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe needs to go back a little bit. So I'm just gonna select just that face and bring it back. Just bring that in here. Okay. So I'm just going to soften those edges a hair. Let's go and do a quad. Okay. So now we have all of our. So we get the coin slot boxed in. Now we just need to do this boxing of this kind of logo at the top. Let's see. So that looks like it's a sphere. Let's bring those sections down to make something like that. Convert that to poly, and we don't need the bottom half of this since you can see it's, and then really the top half is not going to be used either. Oops. Okay, so we probably can get rid of some, or add a loop in there, get rid of this top polygon. I'm going to close this a little bit. Actually, I'll just go ahead and collapse all together. So let's see. I add a swift loop down here. Bring that out even more. There you go. Okay, so I'm just going to my front, or my side view, and position this where I feel would be best. Okay, let's make that 0. There you go. I'm going to scale down a little bit until I find that it's appropriate size. And then I'm going to go to my top view, and I want to position that right on top of everything. Yeah, it looks pretty good there. Okay, so it's still not lined up at the top. So just like that. Okay. So now we have our that complete, and we just need to create a kind of a fuel logo shape, which we can do with the the cylinder. So I'm gonna go to my create tab, choose a cylinder, and like this might be in pretty good. Convert that to L poly. And now I'll do just select the faces. Actually, I'm gonna select the opposite faces. I want to inset that, as you can see there, a little bit more. Okay, I think it's pretty good. And then we want to, I want to extrude that, but in the negative, so it goes towards the middle, like that. Okay. And then I'm just gonna do one more inset, and I'm gonna select each side of these and collapse them so that it's a collapse. Alright, perfect. If you choose to, you can soften these edges as well. And this really isn't terribly necessary for this portion of the modeling. And we're just again boxing this out, but you know, some people just prefer to do that as they think it looks a little nicer when you do that. Let's see, so I'm just gonna rotate this 90 degrees. I'm gonna move this to the center of the kind of sculpture we're making here. I'm gonna position it right on top, like so. And I want to make sure that it does line up. And so I'm just gonna turn my snaps. My snap toggle, I'm going to make sure it snaps right in the middle of that. Okay, so now we have our, let's see, I'm gonna try for snaps. Okay, so now we have our the kind of the fuel portion of the top. We do need, I see we have a handle we forgot, and then I believe these side panels we can throw in there real quickly, and then maybe just a shape for this panel here and this panel here will be in order. So we're getting pretty close to being done with our blockout phase. So the handle, just a simple box should do. We can add a swift loop in there. Oh, gotta convert to poly first. Then you add our swift loop. And let's go ahead and hit connect. Hit 2. Let's pinch that out a bit. Alright, there you go. So now we can do, oops, I did not connect that right. Sorry, did not confirm my connections. Hit check mark it so it confirms it. And then you can delete those, select your border, and what you want to do is convert that with holding control, hit edge. You want to select everything except for these two and just hit bridge. Wherever my bridge, there it is. There you go. So now we have a handle we can work with, and actually I think this might want to push that there. Okay. So now I'm gonna move my handle to the middle of everything, and then that'll just help me adjust it quickly. I see it's too large. I want to scale it down a bit. I am going to now pull it kind of where I believe will make most sense, and you can just tweak it as you find necessary. Okay. No, I think this handle. Yep. So it needs to be a little smaller as far as fitting on there. I think it needs to be a little bit higher and perhaps a little bit taller. Okay. And I do need to be almost, oops, time for snaps, and yeah, it should be about embedded like so. Okay, so now we have our handle in there, and we now need to create this shape here, which again, a pretty simple box. Seems like it could do the trick here. I'm gonna convert that to poly, go to my edge selection, just push this back. And just like that, we got ourselves, let's actually scale these out a little bit. My scale tool. Okay, so I think that seems to be pretty good. So I'm going to go to my front angle. Select this and make sure it's centered like so. I want this to be right up here. Okay. Okay. Seems to be a little smaller, I see. And now if I'm looking at my reference, we notice there's one there and then two directly below it, so yep, just like that. Let's go ahead and Just push it right into the side. Okay, so now we want two more. We want those evenly spaced. So I'm going to hold shift and drag down. I think right there's fine. In fact, I don't that. I want to set this pivot point to the middle. Okay. So now I'm going to select this. I'm going to hold shift and drag it down. I think that's pretty good. And so number of copies, I want 2 copies. What's going to happen now is, I want this also to be an instance. So what's going to happen here is, because I'm making an instance, so anytime I change one, it'll change all of them. So if I see a little tweak, I can do that then. But also by making 2 copies, it'll equally space these 2 copies. So just like that. So now we have our okay. Okay, so just like, so now I feel like this is, oops, sorry, I'm in the wrong view. Okay, so if we look at our reference, we have there, but also if you look, we have on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these 3 together. So select one, hit attach, and one. Oops. I want to make sure to select. Actually, these are already attached. Sorry. Okay. Oh, they're not attached. So I'm going to select this one and hit attach. I want to attach it to, that's weird. There you go. Okay. I'm going to attach these together. And I want to move the pivot point to the middle. So turn my snaps. And I'm just going to move this to the, I guess I didn't need to turn my snaps for that. So I just want to move that to the middle of everything. Then you can turn off the pivot. And I'm going to go to my modifiers. And I want to just do symmetry. And I want this to be reflective on the y-axis from left to right here, as you can see. And it disappeared, so that means I just have to flip it, and there it is. It's on both sides now. Okay, so I'm just going to convert this to poly. And then we'll now make these that blue color we've been using, just to show that it's ready to go. And now the last thing that I see that we need to make sure we address will be this panel here. And this panel here, and then I believe will be that'll give us our big block. I guess we can put in the fan, just a little rectangle to indicate where the fan and the vent should go. So if I'm looking here, this panel should be about halfway up. So let's go ahead and I'm going to actually take these 2 and set that, and then to just tweak it how I feel fits this well. Okay. Yep, and then I'm just gonna extrude this out just a hair. I think that's, let's go 0.02 should be fine. And so we'll use the same 0.02 for our next one, which so this one's gonna be lined up on this one side, but it'll be a little bit shorter. So what I can do here is I'm actually gonna start off by moving this down like that, and I might need to move a little more. Okay, now select this, inset this one, and I'm just gonna, let's see, so for this one I want it to be, I want to say most of that. Okay, so what I can do here is I can now select this edge, turn my snaps, go to move, turn on a snaps, you'll see it turns to a circle. So it's a square. When you have your snaps enabled, it turns to a square. And so what we want to do is on the y-axis, just lock it in right there, so it's the same. And I can turn off my snaps, and then I can just push this to wherever I need to put it. I think, yeah, that looks about right. Okay. So next I will extrude this out by the same 0.02. Okay. And now just kind of wrap things up. I'm going to take this shape and use it for the fan. So I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to duplicate it, make a copy, and then I'll just let's see. I'm going to stars put that to the center of the object like that. Okay. And then also I'm going to, I guess real quickly, I'm just going to put a swift loop in here, cut this in half, and then I guess I could, and I'll just delete this half. Okay, so this is larger than I had wanted. So what I'll do is I'll just make this a little smaller, just like that, and then I can push this right into the model. And I want to center it side to side, so maybe something kind of like that, and push up a little bit. So that's where our fan will be, as you can see. And then I'm just going to throw in this, 2 more boxes. So something small, maybe like that. So this will be one, to show where our one box will go. So I believe that should be pretty good. Just push that into the model bit, and then we have our side panels here, which actually for this I can hide my size reference for just a moment. Now we kind of have most of that boxed out. I'll just make another, make another box. I feel like that should be pretty good. Okay, position this how I feel necessary. Yeah, something like that seems right. I'm gonna select this all and make it the same color. Okay. So what we did there was we basically just, well, I guess I'll quickly just make this shape here so we know to add that shape later on. And so I'm just going to take this box, duplicate that with Control V, push to the opposite side, select these corners, and you can convert it to poly, then I'll select these corners, not that one. And we'll just chamfer these down to give us that arch that we're looking for. So maybe something more like that. Okay. And this honestly gonna be way too big compared to that shape we're going for. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pick this side. I don't want that, but I do want to inset this a little bit. And then I want to extrude this back. We'll just push it back like that. Okay. So I'm going to just push it so it just fits inside. just barely embedded. There you go. And now I want to just make sure position this somewhere pretty low, as you can see in the reference. Looks like it might be a hair back. Yeah. Okay. So we will, later on, we'll get to the chord, and right now that's not. That will be part of the main layout. We just need to make sure we have everything else laid out there. So what you can see here is we have our. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead. Just attach all these to make this nice and easy to work with. So I just want to attach, and sometimes it happens where it automatically kind of falls out of that attach mode. Okay. So what we did there is we basically create we modeled a real fast version of this. And the reason we did the way we did it is so that we can quickly reference. Now we have this as our kind of visual reference, but also this will be a really good reference for proportions, scales, and we can model right on top of this here moving forward. So the next video, what we'll be doing is we will actually get into the high poly version of this, and so yeah, we'll model this to its full. High definition, and then after that we'll kind of work on creating the game asset version. So so that next high poly